victory!
The transfer window has closed and now our sole focus is action on the pitch. Just the one defeat so far this season in 9 games in all competitions. Let's hope that impressive form continues. We are off to Bolton today as the lads have gone up to the northwest. They did the double over as last season and they have 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses so far this season. Currently sitting 1 point behind us in the league table. So this, you would have thought, would be a pretty good test. Here's a look ahead to what we got coming up before kick-off. We'll hear exclusively from manager Ben Garner, who spoke to Charlton TV commentator Terry Smith yesterday morning. We'll break down the club's transfer dealings from this summer, with the window having slammed shut on Thursday night. And we'll also hear from a youngster who has taken his opportunity in the left-back position at present, Charles Clayden. Now, as always, for away games, we have the A-team. I have to call them, don't I, you two? Curves and Brownie. How are we? Good week? Any holidays in between this week?
No. A couple of games of golf.
Have you? How'd you play?
Yeah. Done well. Done all
Banned
right.
it again or not?
Yeah, no, I'm getting better. That's the amount of times I've played, as you'll find out next week.
Absolutely. I'm playing with you a couple of times. Friday and the following Monday.
Oh, yeah, the Bobby Moore.
On the West Ham one, yeah. Brownie, you're keeping quiet already.
Well, because...
Just respect for you.
Well, and he talks a lot more than I do. We know that, and then he blames it all on me. But no, I mean, yeah, of course we know so. No, I had a good round. I was level par after 9. Stopped for a drink at the halfway hut, and someone said, "Do you want a sausage roll?" I turned it down.
You turned down
massive
a sausage roll.
mistake.
Really?
10 over back 9, and yeah, I think the hunger struck. But it's still a good round. But yeah,
you two have got too much time in your hands. So a good week, and both of you are talking about golf. Anyway, another week, another away game. Looking forward to this one?
I am, because once again, we're talking about playing out from the back and possession football, but we've got a lovely stadium to play at. I mean, that's the one thing for me about League One, or if you want to call it the old Division 3. Well, you know, the third, yeah,
absolutely. It's third tier.
You never got these sort of stadiums and these pitches to play on. You know,
Curves, all due respect, you didn't get these in the Premier League in the mid-90s. You remember
no,
you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't.
But look at it now. You know, and even when we went to Accrington recently, that was a lovely pitch as well. So we can't complain about the pitch. We've got a nice stadium. Yeah. Let's get the 3 points.
We can only complain about the company, Curbs, can't we? You know,
yeah, the one in the middle.
Are you happy you're with us and not up in the northwest?
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Tel. I mean, I don't think Greg's there today, but Terry and Greg, they do a lot of mileage. And I did some long trips, you know, the first 18 months or so. But, yeah, I don't envy them driving up and down those motorways. No, it can be, you know, 5 hours can take 7 sometimes. It's horrible. And then the game finishes, and if the game's not great, you're back in the car. I was by myself as well.
Especially you're driving as well.
But it is awkward, isn't it? That is awkward. It's really... You know, 5 hours, but as you say, it could be long. Bolton, Wigan, Blackburn, they're all sort of, it's difficult to get to on a Friday afternoon as well.
You get chauffeur driven though, Curves. You
have to drive Premier League, we flew.
Ah, there you go. Love that one. Love that one. Look, I mean, we'll chat about the transfer window in detail a little bit later on, so we don't need to talk about us specifically right now. But in your years as a manager, how did you find the transfer window?
All depends where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're sitting there, you don't want the phone to ring. Obviously, if you think people are after your players.
Were you ever tempted to put the phone to one side? Or?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, there's no escape now, is there? You know, you could disappear a little bit, but no, and especially if it's the other way, you want to try and do a deal, then, you know, you're trying to make phone calls urgently. Yeah, it's interesting to see where we ended up, and I don't know if Ben's been asked a question. If he's happy or not happy or whatever. Up and down the country, there's some very unhappy managers, as we saw last week. Scotty Parker being one, and perhaps Brendan Rodgers at the moment, and like in the top league. But you know, same problems if you're in the Championship, in Division 1, if you need to get some players in and you don't manage to do it, then you're a bit disappointed.
Brown, I have to say, you've been there as well, haven't you? As a manager, director of football, but whatever you call it, at a non-league level, which is even harder. I mean, you've been through that process.
It's tough. I mean, Curbs has a different toughness in terms of you're turning down 4 or 5 million for players, and you're arguing with your owner at the time whether that's good or bad business, aren't you? And you want to keep the players your best players. And you know, my one at non-league is you have to do everything. You're the scout. You know, you're driving around the country, meeting the players, you're then negotiating with the players. When I took over at Ebbsfleet, they didn't have a single player signed on. I had 6 weeks. I had a block of 6 weeks to get as many players on board. We went into the first friendly with 11. You know, I had to borrow. I remember phoning Wayne Burnett up at Dagenham Redbridge. He said, "You got anyone that's not playing today that I could nick to come down and help me out? I haven't got enough players." And Wayne sent me a couple of kids. Yeah. You know,
but you know, it's different now. I could get a phone call when I was a manager here. Would you let Stevie Brown go? Would you let Stevie Brownie go?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And I could say no, and that could be the end of it. But it's not now, right? It's not, because them agents, they find out, or they get someone to get to Stevie Brownie, if you like, and unsettle him, and it's a lot different now.
I reckon he had a load of calls. Me and you never got to hear about it, mate.
Oh, well, I did. Yeah. He did.
He's got like a shot.
He did.
You were definitely worth the extra 50 quid as well, by the way.
There was 700 grand involved.
He's still better than signed for Arsenal.
I still regret that.
Final one as well, keep a bit of a laugh with us. Again, we will talk more in detail. As a player, did you sign in deadline day, or was there a deadline day back in your day, Curbs? Yeah.
I went from Birmingham to Villa.
Yeah.
In the March.
It's a brave move.
Deadline day, yeah. It was funny. I was talking about it the other day. Ron Saunders called me in, and the Birmingham manager at the time, he just left Villa, so it's chaos. And he's called me in, he went, "I've just had a phone call from Villa. I don't know why, but they want you."
Yes.
So you better get yourself over. You better get yourself over there.
I reckon I let a few of them off.
And it was deadline day. You had to do it by 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
so I've gone over to Villa Park and sorted everything out except for the medical. And Doc Target, who was a great doctor there, he said, "Oh, your blood pressure's a bit high." I mean, wouldn't yours be if you was going from Birmingham to Villa? He went, "No, it's all right."
Brilliant. On that note, let's move on, shall we? Can't beat that. Let's get straight to it then and hear from the manager, Ben Garner, who spoke to Terry Smith yesterday.
It's become a regular first question, but we're coming towards the end of another 3-game week. We've also had to contend with transfer deadline day. How are your personal energy levels ahead of our trip to Bolton?
They're good. They're good. It's been a good week. It's been a long week, but a good one. It was very pleasing Wednesday night. Sorry. Good performance. Great for a lot of the young players to come in and feature. And I was really pleased with the performance levels in that game. Not just the result, but the way we played, the energy we showed, the enthusiasm we showed. And obviously we're trying to align the academy closely with the first team, and I think that showed in the performance.
There was some frustration after deadline day, having had a little while to get over it. How would you summarise the window as a whole?
I think overall good. I think there's been a lot of good work done. We obviously wanted to strengthen in 1 or 2 other areas if we could, and weren't able to get that done before the deadline through no lack of effort and no lack of trying on our part. But overall, good window. I think we've brought in not just good players, but a lot of good characters. We've managed to put a good squad together that have started the season well, and now we look to build and push forwards with that.
Bolton to come on Saturday. They've lost 2, drawn 2 and won 2 of their first 6. What are we expecting from them?
Tough game. They're a really good team with a good manager. I think they've recruited well over 2 or 3 windows now. They've built a really good squad, good balance in terms of how they play and the system they use. So, it's going to be a difficult game. We have to go there and play very well. But we're looking forward to it. We've had a decent run of games now, and our fitness levels are good. The sort of atmosphere around the training ground this week has been really good. So we go there full of confidence, and obviously with the aim to win the game.
A few pundits have backed them to potentially be dark horses to mount a challenge for promotion this season. Why do you think that is?
I think because of the strength of their squad. Like I said, they've got a good manager. They've got a really really strong squad now. You know, they've got depth, they've got quality in all positions, but not just as a starting 11, but players that can come in as well. And there's not too much drop off in that. You know, for example, if you look at their midfield players, you could pick any three out of the ones they've got, and they're strong. At wing back now, they've got good depth, so they've got a lot of options within their squad. Good size to it, good depth, good balance, and that's probably why a lot of people are backing them to do well.
I'm sure you've taken time to watch some of their recent games. Where can we be effective on Saturday?
I think in a number of areas, I think they're good at what they do, and they repeat it, they do it well, and we have to identify the areas that we think we can hurt them, which we've worked on this week, and obviously we have to match what they do and respect how they play and make sure that we deal with that. But as always, our mindset is about how we can impose ourselves on the game and how we can hurt them, how we can create, how we can score. So we'll be looking to do that on Saturday.
Yeah, home or away, there is a clear philosophy on the bend. One change from the Wycombe game last week. Sam Lavelle comes in for the injured Ryan Innes. The rest unchanged. Great to see Conor McGrandles and Corey Blackett-Taylor back on the bench as well. Jack Payne's there. Miles Leeburn and a couple of other youngsters, Lucas Ness and Richard Chin as well, who played very well, I have to say, midweek.
Yeah, both of them did very well.
Go on.
Yeah, no, I think it's an impressive performance during the week. You know, I'm sure we're going to come onto it in a bit and see some highlights. But
so about that 11.
Yeah, I mean, it's a predictable change, isn't it? It's a forced change. You know, Ryan came off injured at Wycombe, and Sam's the natural replacement. And you know, in terms of the results we've been having with the one loss, you're not going to see too many changes, are you? You know, it's in contrast to Bolton, actually, who don't seem to have found their strongest 11 yet. They've made, I think, something like 16 changes. So,
you know, most in League One.
Yeah, we're settled.
Curbs, you consistent side?
Yeah, because the results have been consistent, if you like. I think we're points total. I think is where we should be on the performances. So I'm looking at today really to cement our position in the top 6, to go and get a result at Bolton. I'm talking about winning it, going and getting a result. But we come back to what we were saying last week about the strength of the squad, and it is packed very well, certainly in the middle of the park and whatever. But it's the centre backs position, because unfortunately with Ryan Innes, you're not quite sure with his injury record, and with Chuck's out again. They're the two areas that I think we highlighted last week, and I think we're still going to be highlighted, because if we have a problem there, I don't see too much cover.
We will talk more about that in just a couple of minutes' time. Let's take a look at the league table now then, shall we? And we find ourselves in 8th, a point and 2 places above today's opponents, Bolton. Portsmouth lead the way on 14 points. Above second placed Ipswich on goal difference. Sheffield Wednesday, Peterborough, Plymouth in the playoff places. Derby moved back into the top 6 with a home victory over Posh last weekend. And Cambridge are the only other side on double figures in terms of points. Brownie Pompey have won each of the last 4 league games, scored 10 goals in the process. You've been impressed with the job that Danny Cowley has done so far this season?
Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted them being top, to be honest, after 6 games. I sort of, they've done a bit of a Peterborough, and they've flown under the radar a little bit. None of their business stood out over the summer where you went, yeah, they're going to storm this league and they're going to be a massive improvement in terms of results and points on the board from last season. They have. And yeah, I mean, I've managed against Danny when he was at Concord, and they come with a certain style, you know, but if they get their squad right and all the people within the squad believe in what they're about, because it is slightly different, if they believe in them, then they certainly get the team spirit that gives them a chance.
Curbs, the first full month of the season is done. Suffered just 1 defeat in 9 matches across all competitions. Good start. Are you happy with that? With a clear philosophy?
I said, I think that's about where we are. A good result today will take us, I think, back into the top 6. And I've just looked at the teams we've played already. They've all had good starts. The teams we've actually played, or including Bolton today. Look, you know, Wycombe top half, Accrington top half.
Plymouth have won back-to-back league games.
Cambridge top half, Derby top half, Plymouth top half.
It's a great bounce back actually, because they got a thump in here, you know, and
Sheffield Wednesday as well. So if we get a result today, it will take us into that top 6. And you know, after 7 games, you know, you can say, okay.
Is that when you start looking?
We've had a decent start. Now can we push on?
Okay, there's a full fixture list in League One this afternoon. Some eye-catching games on paper too. Table toppers Portsmouth host Peterborough on the south coast. That's down there at the bottom. While Derby welcome Plymouth to Pride Park. Sheffield Wednesday face Barnsley in a South Yorkshire derby, and Exeter who we take on at the Valley next weekend, face a resurgent MK Dons after they had a very poor start to the season, didn't they? And Curbs, you've just touched on it there. Given that 4 of the top 6 are facing one another today, a real opportunity for us to close that gap, isn't it, and return to the playoff.
No, it is. And, you know, you hear lots of people say, let's just look after ourselves, but you do need 1 or 2 of the other things to help you as well. Yeah. And that could be the point today. If we get the result and the teams that play each other perhaps end up in draws or whatever, then you do get in there.
Brownie, I don't know how much you were over the transfer window on Thursday night, over the whole of League One. Winners and losers?
No. I was just looking at ours. Yeah. I didn't pay any interest to the rest of the league at all, to be honest. Just waiting for that signing to come through for us, you know, and like all the rest of the people, it didn't come. And that's, you know, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes in terms of getting the business done. But no, I'm not particularly aware of the rest of the league. But in terms of the league tables, we've got a very big fixture down there in Portsmouth and Peterborough. What I would say about our fixture is that's a big fixture as well in the context of the 2 clubs and where they're at this point of the season. You know, we haven't won an away game yet. You know, they're looking at, I think they were 3 straight losses, 1 in the cup, 2 in the league, and they've just bounced back with a cup win. So they're not in the best of form, and I think the pressure's on them a little bit more. You know, their away form's dreadful. Their home form's was good up until they lost to Sheffield. And I don't think they can afford to lose too many home games, so they're not going to want back-to-back losses at home. So I think the pressure's on them a little bit to get the result.
OK, quick break from today. Let's get to club news updates now, shall we? As always, we will start with ticketing news, and tickets for our next 2 home fixtures in Sky Bet League 1 against Exeter and Forest Green are now on sale. Exeter come to the Valley next Saturday. Forest Green make the trip to the Valley 3 days later, Tuesday, September the 13th. Head to booking.cafc.co.uk to get your tickets for both matches now. Well, staying on the subject of tickets, fans can still purchase theirs for the Charlton women's home game against Birmingham City here at the Valley on Sunday, September the 18th. Tickets are priced at just a tenner for adults and £5 for concessions. Head to booking.cafc.co.uk to get yours now. Now, we always like to remind our international fans that annual and monthly Charlton TV subscriptions remain on sale. They are priced at just £220 per annum or £35 per month. So if you're currently paying £10 for match passes every week, why not upgrade to a subscription? If you're paying £10 to watch every match, you'll have paid £220 before the season even reaches its halfway point. So you'll be making a big saving with a subscription. You can purchase yours by heading to cafc.co.uk right now. Well, you may have seen the pop-up on screen already this afternoon, but I'd also like to remind fans that they can contact us in the studio via WhatsApp this season. Curbs, Brownie and I have really enjoyed answering your questions, haven't we, chaps?
Well, yeah, it's mostly Curbs. I'm so delighted when he's sat there.
Curbs told us...
I'll get someone to send some in, Brownie.
Well, Curbs, I'll tell you what, you told us a great story last week about when you were sent to the stands and ended up having a beer with the game still going on.
Yeah,
Love that one. Love to get more of you in touch. That's the number on screen to call us now, and if you send us a question for today, there is every chance we could read it out on air. We look forward to hearing your views. Well, it's been a busy August for Charlton Athletic Community Trust to engage with 2,333 young people through their school holiday football courses and run another holiday activities and food programme for those on free school meals. Charlton Challenge football sessions are running throughout the autumn, and you can book via cact.gives. That's cact.gives. Young Greenwich Youth Club sessions are back at all 4 of their youth hubs. To find out more, visit young-greenwich.org.uk. Well, Charlton's under-21s continue their perfect start to the season, making it 4 league wins in a row by beating Coventry City at Dartford on Monday, due to the first team's fixture against Gillingham the following day. Almost all of the starters in this game are still eligible to play for the under-18s, so it was a great result. Ryan Hugh opened the scoring before Coventry levelled the scores before midway through the first half. Winger Saeed Kamara put the young Addicts back in front, and that is how the scoring remained at Princes Park. Unfortunately, that winning run came to an end at Barnsley yesterday as they were beaten 2-0. Well, under-21s are back in action on Tuesday at Princes Park when they host Nottingham Forest. Fans are welcome to attend that game and will also be streaming every kick live on Charlton TV. You can get a match pass for that game for just a £5. The under-21s will be led by Hamza Sarraj for that game and on Tuesday and going forwards, as he has been appointed as Senior Professional Development Phase Lead Coach following Anthony Hayes' move up to the first-team coaching staff. Danny Sender will now take charge of the club's under-18s and will be supported by former club captain Jason Pearce. And up until this week, Sarraj had been head coach of the under-18s. Should we have a quick question?
Who's it for?
Far away,
Brownie.
Far away.
What was your most disappointing deadline day? And that's from Steve from Perth.
Oh,
It's a good question, that.
I didn't miss out on too many, to be honest. So I can't really give you a question. If you want to ask me one of my most disappointing signings,
You didn't sign Brownie, though, did you?
No.
You're looking at Brownie there.
No.
I'll tell you
No, I
a little
wouldn't ask you
story.
that. I wouldn't ask you that.
When he did bid me and threw me out, that summer he come back to me and he went, "I'll let you go a year too early." See, that's a little. He won't remember that story. I had a drink.
I said it to everyone I let go.
Yeah, did you? Yeah, make him feel better.
I saw.
That's what Lenny said to me.
I saw Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank saying that about Jose Mourinho. That Mourinho had said, "I'll let you to." That's a manager speak, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Lenny said that to me. I'll let you go too early, cock. And I said, "Oh right, okay."
He loves that one, doesn't he, Lenny? Yeah. OK, look, as we mentioned earlier, the summer transfer window closed on Thursday night. Let's take a closer look at our business. And we start with deadline day, which, have to say, was disappointing. This is obviously who we've brought in as a whole. Let's look at it as a whole first then. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of players through the door, that's a good sum. It's a good total. I don't see why there's an argument against free transfers. If they're out there signing on free transfers, I think you'll find a lot of League One clubs have done a lot of business in the free transfer market. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think if you're Ben Garner, you want the strongest possible squad moving into October, November, December as you can possibly get, and I don't think he's got that. So in terms of the last few days, I think Ben will be disappointed. But when you look at the names we got there and the players we've got through the door, that doesn't look like a bad incoming during the window. But I just think Ben will be a little bit disappointed that we haven't strengthened towards the end.
Of those signings, Curbs, who's
Well, I'm just looking
for you?
I'm just looking at the only one who's not playing, who's been playing is Egbo, is it?
Yeah.
Right. So obviously Rasaki has done very, very well. I like Payne, I must admit. I think he will put Fraser under real pressure if he gets a chance to play as a number 10. Sessegnon, good signing. Right-footed left back, which is unusual, but it means he's versatile. Go both sides. McGrandle's obviously been injured, so we're not seeing too much of him. Walcott's done well, and O'Connell's played every game virtually. So all the signings that have come in, but except for Mandela Egbo, have been good signings.
Well, I mean, you think about Mandela and Connor as well. How much of a difference will they make, Brownie, once they're fit?
Yeah, I mean, Mandela, we've yet to see. Don't know too much about him, but McGrandles we know about. He's an aggressive midfielder. He can play in the Dobson role. He can play advanced to that. So when he's available, there is options to put him in both those positions. But obviously we've got the best to see of him. He's obviously had a little bit of a tough run with the injury and then the breaking of the wrist. So he'll bounce back and he'll offer competition for places, which is what you want as a manager. I think that's the point we're going to make today, is that if you don't have competition for places, the people in the side can have a little bit of a poor run and it's not really going to affect them.
McGrandle's come out and Dobson's nicked his place.
Wow.
Which is what you want.
But it's like you said, Dobson came out and was furious, right? So you get this competition.
In a positive way.
Yeah, in a positive way. And then when he was asked to come back on, and this is the important bit for me, because it's always about the 11, but it's not. It's about the 20, right? So when Dobson comes back on, he's not sulking. His brain's not over here. He's back on it after half hour, and he's man of the match performance.
You're going to have a similar Sessegnon with the young boy Clayden. He may run out of legs a little bit, but you've got the perfect person to go in there, because we've seen him already. Like Sessegnon. Payne, as I said, I think will offer us something different. He makes a goal and nicks a goal, and he wants to get in the box. Yeah. And Zaki has been excellent since he's come in, so we can't complain about the players that have come in and what they've done so far, I think they've all been good signings.
Another positive here, and a question here from Dan Collins. How impressed have you been with the new goalkeeper, Joe Wollacott? I think he's been our best player so far this season.
Yeah, and I think it was a big shout, wasn't it? Because I think McGilvery done okay, last season, and he must have been a little bit disappointed when Joe came in. I don't think he was expecting that. But obviously Ben's worked with some of these players, so he knows what he's bringing in, which is always a positive if you've been working with him. But you're right, he's been excellent. And last week at Wickham, he made a couple of saves that kept us in it, didn't he?
So there are positives. The negative is we didn't get anyone in deadline day, where clearly we wanted to. Player had his medical, ready to sign. The other club backed out for whatever reason. How disappointing is it? And how difficult is it, Curbs? I mean, maybe there are two different questions here. One, how disappointing is it that we didn't bring anyone in? But two, how frustrating is it from a managerial point of view where you think you've got your man? And has that ever happened to you where they backed out?
We've been saying for the last couple of weeks, we think the two positions that the club were looking at was centre forward because of Chuck's being out for so long, and centre half because of Ryan Innes's problems. So they're the two areas we thought that the club was looking at. And apparently the player here was a forward, a centre forward. But for it to break down really at the end, is it because the club we were dealing with, changed the rules a little bit, or tried to pull a fast one, or do something different in the last hour to put us under pressure? And sometimes that happens, and you bend with it, depending on how bad you need that player. And sometimes you go, no, not doing it. And that's how it sounds. What happened deadline day, but I'm a little bit disappointed because I think it's put at the moment. I think a lot of weight on Stockley's shoulders. Now Miles Leeburn, fine, bring him in, but he can come on the right or on the left, down the middle. But is he going to be the one to start in a grueling season? If Stockley,
shouldn't it be the bonus rather than someone we
if Stockley takes a proper injury? So yeah, that's the area that I think we're struggling at, and at the back, because I think Ben's saying he doesn't want to put Clare as an out-and-out centre back in a 2. He played a lot last season in a 3, didn't he? But as a 2. So if Ryan or if Lavelle picks up an injury now, that's where he's going to have to go.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, because you've obviously been through it, right? Why do they get left right to the last day? Is that down? Can you control that, or can't you control that?
No. What happens is a lot of clubs will say, "If I get my man in, you can have him."
Yeah. You're heavily reliant on a chain of. It's like spine cell now.
It's a chain. So, yeah. You do all the other stuff, like the figures and everything else. Now you're going to do it. How you're going to pay it, etc. But you're waiting on some things like a domino effect. Yeah. Sometimes it don't happen. I don't know if that's the case on why we didn't sign someone.
Don't compare it to houses, because he's got about 40 houses anyway. So he just buys them all.
It's a domino effect, yeah. But
no, it is the chain.
Reach down, needing a mortgage.
And I think
what's that?
Yeah, I think also it's when you're trying to loan players as well. Premier League managers will say, let's see how we start. I've got my mind, this is my squad, but let's see how we start. And then they don't start so well, so they're under pressure not to let anyone go.
Can you plan for that? I mean, the bottom line is the fans will be disappointed that no one came in. And even if you think you've got someone, to leave it to the last minute and then it not happen.
But
can there be, can you proof yourselves in that, or is it just is how it is?
It is how it is sometimes, and for it to go into the last day, there's no other one. There's not a substitute lined up. You ain't got the chance to do that. Yeah. So I suppose the thing that we'll be looking at as a club is, why didn't it get done earlier? The day before, which would have given you an opportunity. Get the knockback a day before, so give you the opportunity to go somewhere else if you can.
Really Chuck's fit, don't we?
It's been disappointing, isn't it? It was a gamble re-signing, in my opinion. I think I said that at the time. You can rewind the tapes and have a look, but it's a gamble. We all know what he can offer, and we all know what he can do when he comes off the bench. We know he struggles to play 2 games in a week. And so I think there was a huge element of risk there in that re-signing. And sadly, it has gone down the path of not being available enough again. And that's something that, would have been in the back of the club's minds when they were re-signing him, but they still thought it was worth it.
Two questions, one from Tony in Orpington. Tony, I'm sure I've seen you around. If I see you again in Orpington, or you see me, please say hello. Who was the biggest name signing that fell through for Curbs when he was Charlton manager?
I'll try
anyone you wanted?
No. The one that got away, as I've said before, was Tim Cahill.
Yeah.
Klaus Jensen had 1 year left on his contract and had an option that he could leave, and he went. Big mistake. He went to Fulham, and he realised that soon afterwards. But we had to move quickly. We was in China on a pre-season, and I went for Tim Cahill. I was in China. I couldn't meet him personally, and he ended up going to Everton. And I just think if I'd have been perhaps in the country, I might have had a better chance.
Okay.
He goes to Everton, scoring 10, 15 goals a season.
He did really well.
Varney's fault, because commercially he sent it out of China, didn't he?
Yeah, he took it to China. Yeah, it's part of Varney's fault and other people.
Moving swiftly on, and final question, James Maddison. How did Curbs find using the free agent market?
Yeah, I think that loans and free transfers, they're a no-brainer in terms of.
It's still possible, isn't it?
Yeah, they're no-brainers because you're not tied to a 3-year contract if you're loaning someone. You can have him for the season, and if you don't like it, if you like him, then try and buy him. But if not, he goes back. And free transfers when you're not paying anything. I think the loan probably would be Costa, who we brought in, and just give us a lift because we was dwindling down the bottom, and he gives us a bit of a lift. And I think free transfers, there's plenty out there that we signed, and as I say, I wouldn't want to put someone on it. You must have seen a few free transfers come in.
Yeah, all on my spot normally.
Well, Costa was, wasn't he?
Can't trust him for another year. Better get another centre half in.
We can move on and still come back to this because obviously it's very topical anyway, isn't it? Okay, youngster Charles Clayden spent the second half of last season on loan at Wealdstone. And I think it's fair to say in the last few weeks he has certainly grabbed his opportunity, even though it's not his natural position, at left back.
Charles, with 6 league games into the season, number 7 at Bolton is coming up. How would you assess the start to the season from a team's point of view, first of all?
I think to start off, we've had a tough run of fixtures, especially like going away to Hillsborough and places like that. But no, I think so far we've done well. But we know that we've still got to build on what we're doing and what we're trying to do. I think everyone's buying into how the manager wants to play in terms of his style of football. So I think if we can implement that more and then get more results than what I think we deserve, I think it's only going to be good going forwards.
And personally, for you, I mean, you're one of a number of young players who have had some big opportunities so far this season. People like you, Aaron Henry, Miles Leeburn. I mean, how much have you enjoyed the start of this season?
Yeah, I've loved it. Obviously, it's a relatively newish role for me, playing in a 4. But I've enjoyed it. Like, all the boys have really helped me, especially the staff as well. So I've just got to keep going and keep enjoying it, keep learning, and then hopefully play as many games as I can and help the team.
And how are you finding it at left back? Because like you say, it's a bit of a new position for you, isn't it?
Yeah, like obviously I played wing back a bit last year at Wealdstone on loan, and also in the 23s and some cup games last year. So yeah, it's a new experience, but I enjoy it because I can still get forward, but also I've got to know that I've got a defensive role to do as well to help the team. So no, it's been good, I'm enjoying it. And
you touched on the staff. I know, speaking off camera, you said Scott Marshall and Anthony Hayes in particular have helped you. I mean, how helpful have they been for you?
Obviously, Ant I've worked with since I've been here, since I was 18, and he's a top coach. Like, he's helped me a lot with, sort of my final third play, and also just general technical ability. And then Marshy's come in and really helped me with like my defensive capabilities in terms of where I should be, positioning, and stuff like that. So I know I've still got a long way to go with that, but yeah, he's helping me a lot.
And it seems like from a playing squad point of view, it's a really sort of friendly, tight-knit squad as a younger player who is maybe now playing with players who he's looked up to previously. How helpful was that?
No, I think we've got a really good group, to be fair. Like I said, the likes of Owen playing next to him, He's really helped me a lot as well. Like talks to me all the time during games. I can't, we've got a really good group, so I think that helps a lot as well. Helps me settle in. So no, it's been good.
If we cast our minds back a couple of weeks, I think your first league start was the Plymouth game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which was obviously the biggest win of the season.
Yeah, no, it was a great night. I really enjoyed it. I think it's different when you play the Valley in a league game. Like it feels like, compared to cup games are still obviously very important, but when you're playing for a league game and you're winning 3 points, scoring 5 goals at home, it was a great night. I really enjoyed it. So I think when you play in them games, it makes you want to sort of play more and sort of play as many games as you can. So no, I really enjoyed it. It was good.
And how have you found that transition? Because previously you've played in the League Cup games, the Papa John's Trophy games, but now you're really involved. You're starting league games. How have you found that transition? Yeah,
obviously, listen, it's a lot different in terms of you know that the 3 points is essential, and that side of it, you're going to get used to. But I've enjoyed it. I think that's the only way you've got to approach it. You've got to take it in your stride and try and give your best for the team every game. I think that's the most important thing. So yeah, I've enjoyed it so far.
And learning and becoming used to that side, how much of that did you pick up on that loan spell last season?
I think a lot. I think it was really beneficial for me. Like, I can't speak highly enough of the club, the staff at Wealdstone. They were really helpful. And I think just that sort of sense of needing to win 3 points. Obviously, they were in a different position to what we hopefully will be in this season. But I think to win 3 points, and that's the bit that you learn and take away from it. I think sort of that sense of needing to win. So that was the biggest thing I took away from it, I'd say. And
looking at the task at hand now, Bolton's come on Saturday. They've had a good start as well and are in a similar league position to ourselves. What are we expecting from them?
I think it'll be a tough game. I think they're a big club looking to get back up the Football League as well. So we know it's going to be a tough game, but I think if we can implement our style and how we want to approach the game, I don't see why we can't go there and win. And
personally, how do you approach games?
Me, I'll just try and stay relaxed as I can. I like to watch the football, as much football as I can before games, whether it's the early game or Friday night games, whatever. I'll try and watch that and sort of take bits from other games and try and implement that into my game. But yeah, just pretty chilled really. Just try and focus on myself.
He looks pretty chilled, doesn't he? He comes across that way. Certainly very relaxed. Brandy, how impressed have you been with Charles, and particularly when you're being asked to play out of position, or could that actually become his position?
It could. I wasn't a right back. Got thrown in, and you sink or swim. You know that. You come out of your apprenticeship. You get your pro contract. You're working your socks off, but nothing prepares you for that day when the manager goes, right, you're in. And it doesn't matter where it's at. It could be. I mean, I think my first ever substitution appearance was Watford away in the old First Division, and then obviously I had my injury, and I didn't make another one until like Grimsby away. And it's sink or swim time. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to deliver performances, and you hope you're good enough to get a run, because you know as well as I do, once you're set in that first team, you're picking up so much off of opponents who you're playing against, off of your own senior pros alongside you. And a lot of our kids at the moment, Scotty, are very much swimming. They're coming to the side and they're showing very, positive signs that they're going to be here or could be here for a while if we want them to be here.
Yeah,
they look good enough.
He also mentioned about learning that being at Wilson, the value of 3 points, of getting a win. How important is that? Because, it's all very nice to play academy, good football, but understanding in men's football, actually, you're with the big boys and you've got to get a win.
That's a big argument when you talk about academy football, because you're producing players that don't need to win on a Saturday, because that ain't the thing that you're playing for. You're trying to improve and to become a player, but then once you get out into the proper league, results matter, especially to the manager. And if it ain't going so well, suddenly that player could come under pressure, and he's never had that sort of pressure before. I came over here for the QPR game. I was really impressed with him. And I thought,
I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, I came back to you and I said, he's a mini Luke Shaw. I like the way he gets forward. We haven't seen him under pressure, perhaps with a Raksaki running at him or something like that. I know we don't, but certainly going forward, he looks excellent.
He certainly does, and he's playing today, and hopefully he can get forward and maybe get an assist or even a goal. But then left backs are not there to get goals, are they? OK, busy week off the pitch, a busy week on the pitch as well. Obviously, we played Wycombe last week. We played Gillingham in the Papa John's Trophy Wednesday. Let's start with Wycombe, shall we? A week on, Curbs, decent point?
Yeah, because I think that, as I said before, the teams that we've played against are all in the top half. And I think, as I've said, we've got to get a majority of our points here at the Valley. What I liked about this goal was the amount of people getting in the box. Look how many we got in the box. Obviously, a great bit of skill, and that's called, I've heard now, that's called the chop.
You're down with the kids now,
I thought it
Curbs.
was a little bit of disguise and put it onto his other foot. But no.
Shape to shoot. That's
Yeah.
what,
That is one of the things that we've been speaking about. Straight balls into the players in the middle of the park. It's very, very difficult. And if teams are playing this high press or pressurising your back four when you're trying to play out, straight balls ain't what you need to be playing.
Brownie, I mean,
No, listen,
what aspects of the game do you think Ben would have worked on this week?
Well, they've got to convert more opportunities in the final third. You know, 61% possession, 2 shots on target. We spoke about this last week. That's an awful amount of possession without really getting into the final third and creating a great deal. I didn't think this was a particularly good game. I didn't think the Cambridge game was a particularly good game. I thought the draws in both those were a fair reflection of both sides. I thought Cambridge had a better second half the week before to get their point, and I thought Wycombe didn't deserve to lose, neither did we. It wasn't a particularly great game, if I'm honest. But what we've got to do is find a way of converting this style that we've got, which is this, as we see now, this passing style. We're expansive. We've got options to the person in possession of the ball, but what we lack is this bit here. You know, we don't create enough of those opportunities. You know, it's a lot of huffing and puffing without a great deal of end product at times.
Well, I think Brownie said something last week about the possession, 60-odd%, but where was most of the possession? It was in the defensive third or in midfield. It wasn't in the attacking third, which obviously you don't expect most of it to be in the attacking third. But
yeah. This is the Gillingham game now, the 11 changes. Very different one aside to played last week and today as well. Great experience this for the youngsters, isn't it?
Brilliant, yeah, and I tell you what, I did actually watch this one, you know, on the streaming service, and Neil's got a tough job on for Gillingham. We were terrific. I thought you can only beat what's in front of you, and I thought our youngsters did really well. And I've got to say, you know, if you're the senior players in this side as well, I thought they put in a shift. You know, because it's not easy. We've all been there, great attitudes, yeah. And like I said earlier, the youngsters will learn off of those players, and it's important that they see them doing it right. But yeah, there's some exciting young kids here, and we've seen Ness and Chin on the bench today.
Proper games. You know, we're talking about playing against men on your pitch. You know, not training ground games where nothing matters. This is a proper game. And I think what has happened so far this year is, if I'm one of them youngsters, I've seen a pathway. I've seen a couple of the boys get a chance, Clayden, Leeburn, whatever. Yeah. You've seen them actually get an opportunity. And is the manager the sort of manager that if you're doing it, I'm going to put you in?
Do you think he is?
Yeah, because I think they've been talking up the academy. Obviously, you know, we need to be winning games, but you know, if you've got a young player who's doing it and you're confident enough to give him his chance, give him it if he's good enough. And there is a bit of a pathway at the moment.
I think it's not a case of it willy. I think it's a necessity.
Yeah.
I think they're all going to be called upon at some point. I think we're going to be stretched.
You look at the bench today.
Well, we're going to be stretched, right? And this is what I'm saying about sink or swim. If you're Chin and you get on today, it's very much swim time. You know, because it's your moment to shine. It's your moment to put in a performance that says, yeah, I can cope in our first team. And I do think we're going to have to rely on a lot of our academy players across the course of this season, you know, because of the strengthening depth.
The lads out already, doing their little warm-up, as are Bolton as well. Let's remind ourselves of the teams, shall we? It is just the one change for Charlton from last week. Sam Lavelle comes in for Ryan Ennis. Other than that, it's Ashworth for the Wycombe game. In terms of Bolton, difficult place, as we said, and they did a double over us. They're only a point behind us, but not on the greatest of runs at the moment, are they?
No, and they use, and we've said it already, they've used more players than anybody else in the league, which suggests to me they've either had a couple of injuries, that, you know, but they haven't found their strongest 11 yet. But there is a danger man in there, Dion Charles, scoring goals for fun. That's the one we've got to take care of. He's in good form in terms of goal scoring. But they play a slightly different system. They're putting a back three, you know, so they're going to ask something different of our system. I'm not sure if we've come up against a back three this year, have we? Not sure. But Yeah, they're sort of in a position, Scotty, where the pressure's on them a little bit. You know, they lose today. That's 3 straight league losses. You know, they need to put a point or 2 on the board.
So what do you think, Curbs?
Well,
How do you see it going?
Well, I think that they are under pressure. It's a big stadium with not a big crowd. You know, so can we get on top? And then I think the frustration will be shown by the crowd getting after the Bolton players. So possession football might be the key if we don't give them an opportunity to get going.
Sid Jones, your question for the predictions. We're going to go for at least a draw, aren't we? Simple as that. Let's get back to
I'm going for a win.
You going for a win?
Yeah.
OK, I like that. Love your positivity. Yeah. This afternoon's commentator, Terry Smith, tell.
Cheers, Scott. Thank you, Curbs. Thank you, Brownie. Yes, welcome everybody to the University of Bolton Stadium. In a very full University of Bolton Stadium, has to be said.